This beautiful Viking twin otter, in high demand around the world, is built in Sydney at Victoria International Airport. Many of its unique structural components, highly sculptural shapes and high-tech materials, are manufactured just across the street at Harwood Custom Composites.
We currently produce about 90 different parts for the aircraft and provide them to Viking for their assembly line.
A lot of the products that we make are individual parts that end up going into larger assemblies. This is an example of a fairing. This will come off the side of the aircraft and your wing strut will come through there. And this here is an example of a landing gear fairing, which would come off the side of the aircraft. Your landing gear would come through it. Main makeup of these is fiberglass and an epoxy resin. After it goes through its process of layup, it'll go into the back shop where we'll do the filling and fairing on it. And then also we put the white epoxy primer onto it.
Is a complex, exacting process.
When we start the process, it's going to start with a tool, and the tool is going to dictate what your final shape is. We have to put a release agent onto it to ensure that the resins in the vacuum bagging process aren't going to bond themselves to your tool. Right now he's just working the part with a sweep to make sure that the glass is in tight into all the corners. On this side we have the laminates that have already been applied, vacuum bagged, and are cured. The finished laminate thickness of a part such as this is probably between 30 and 40 thou thick, so they're quite thin and fragile. So for most of our products that go out, if it's going to be an exterior part or an exposed raw glass, it will get sealed with an epoxy primer. One of the other areas that we produce parts in is our thermoforming area, making transparencies for aircraft. This happens to be a side cabin window for the Twin Otter. In this area of the shop is where we do our trimming and then our final filling and fairing.
This new $300,000 5-axis computerized router may be the key to the next level.
On some of the parts being processed on here so far, we're seeing savings of as much as 70%. The type of customers and the type of work that we can do just opens up to us. Now we have a part with all of our appropriate holes drilled into it and a final trim along the outside.
So what does the maker of futuristic airplane parts do in his spare time? Turns out he rides really old motorcycles.
I picked this up a few weeks ago and just kind of fell in love with its classic lines. It's a 1949 BSA Bantam, 125cc, a whopping 4 horse. And a lot of people like to restore them because the investment into them is not huge. They're very simple. The parts readily available, they're not expensive. So it gives you the opportunity to have a classic bike without pouring tens of thousands of dollars in it.